If you're new to human design and you want to find out more about the projector energy type, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Veronica. I'm a mindset coach and human design guide with over 15 years experience helping women create their own version of success. 12 months ago, I trained to become a human design guide and I started to introduce human design into the way that I work with my clients. Since then, I've done hundreds of readings and I've invested countless hours studying human design, understanding my own design, and deepening my knowledge of how human design can help us become more authentic and live a life that truly aligns with who we are. Through these videos, I want to share with you my knowledge of human design so that hopefully you can begin your own alignment journey and live life on your terms. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video, which is all about projectors. This video is a special one for me because I am a projector myself, and finding out I was a projector and what it meant has completely changed my life. So in this video, I'm going to be covering the basics of what it means to be a projector. We're going to talk about the projector aura. We're going to talk about some of the key characteristics and key challenges that projectors face. We're going to talk about the projector strategy. And we're also going to touch on the not-self theme and signature for projectors. If you're interested in human design and you want to find out more about human design in general or your design in particular, then I do encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and to please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and would like me to make more. So first of all, how do you know if you are a projector in human design? Most of the websites that you'll be using to pull up your chart will tell you in writing what your energy type is. But if you're interested in finding out what about your chart makes you a projector, then we want to look at two things. Number one, a projector will never have their sacral defined. The sacral is this box in the middle of the chart which relates to life force. If you have your sacral defined, you will either be a generator or you will be a manifesting generator. Secondly, you will never have one of the four motor centers connected to the throat. The four motor centers are the sacral, which I just mentioned, the root, the emotional center, also known as the solar plexus, or the ego, also known as the heart center. If you had one of the last three centers I mentioned connected to the throat, that would make you a manifester. And if you had your sacral connected to the throat, or your sacral plus one of the other three motor centers, that would make you a manifesting generator. So by looking at a body graph, you'll be able to tell if someone is a projector by taking those two key aspects into consideration. Now let's talk about the projector aura. First of all, when we're talking about energy type and when we're talking about your aura, essentially what we're describing is the way that you're designed to use your energy and exchange it with the rest of the world. Calling it projector an energy type can actually be a little bit confusing because we are actually non-energetic beings, meaning that we don't create our own energy. We absorb and amplify other people's energy, and that's exactly what our aura is designed to do. The projector aura is focused and absorbing. It radiates from your G center and cuts straight through someone else's being. This allows a projector to be known as the seer. We see people very, very deeply, which makes a projector very wise but also very sensitive to other people's energy. Because of this, it's also really important for the projector to understand that our energy is designed to be focused, is designed to thrive on a one-to-one basis. The way I've described this to clients before is imagine that your energy is a torch. The light that the torch produces is very strong but very focused. So if you were trying to light up a dark room using a single torch, you would be there all day. By comparison, the generator aura is big, it's large, it's enveloping. So imagine their energy as a light bulb that you'll find in a typical room, where the light might not be as potent, but it covers more ground. As a projector myself, I can definitely see the difference between me using my energy in a focused and intentional way versus when I try to do loads of different things and then feel like I'm just spreading myself out really thin and getting nothing other than burnout. Because of our aura, the projector is also the most conditioned energy type out of all the energy types. Because not only we don't have our own energy, but we also absorb other people's energy. We are literally an energetic sponge. We soak everything up and then hold on to all of that energy unless we get very clever, learn about human design, and learn how to recognize when we're doing that and learn to let it go. For this very reason, projectors often have the biggest deconditioning journey ahead of them because it's likely that they will have spent their entire life living their conditioning rather than their design. I, for one, can confirm that if someone had asked me to guess my design, I would have said I was a generator. And believe me when I tell you that for 30 years I did operate as a generator. I was burning out constantly because I was trying to keep up with the generators in my life. And I think I've mentioned this in a previous video where everyone in my family is an energy being. So everyone in my family is either a generator or a manifesting generator. And chances are that if you're a projector, you will be in a similar situation because 70% of the population is made up of generators and manifesting generators, with projectors only making up around 20% of the population. So that means that by default, we are very likely to be surrounded by generators and manifesting generators for the majority of our life, which means that you may have spent the last however many decades living as a fish when really you're a bird. And I really hope if you're watching this and if you're a projector and if you're starting to discover human design, that this is your nudge to learn more about yourself, to learn more about what it takes for you to thrive as the unique individual that you are, because it feels so good to come back to yourself and to really see yourself for who you are, not for who you've always felt you should be. But more on that later. So first of all, let's talk about some key qualities and traits of the projector. The projector is very wise, like I mentioned earlier, and we are known as the seer, as the guides of society. Because we don't have our own energy, that allows us to remain really objective and to observe how other people's energy is best harnessed for the well-being and benefit of the entire planet. Because our energy is so focused, it's really important for projectors to master a system, to master a topic, to become an expert in a particular field. Because from that place, we are able to do two really important things. Number one is to recognize ourselves and recognize the value that we bring to the world. And number two, it allows us to be seen in order to get invitations. I'm going to talk about the strategy for projectors in just a second, which, if you hadn't guessed yet, is to wait for the invitation. Why is that? Let's talk about some of the challenges for projectors so that it all makes sense. One of the biggest challenges for projectors is that because they see things so clearly, they often see things that other people can't. They are very wise. And being wise but not knowing how to use that wisdom effectively, how to use it in alignment, means that projectors very early on in life start to be seen as know-it-alls, start to feel resistance when they try to give someone advice, when they try to be helpful, when they try to give someone their opinion and it's not well received. In fact, that creates more resistance than it does anything positive and anything good. And the reason for this is that the projector aura is so penetrating that when we give advice, it is deep. And if you guys are projectors out there, by the way, if you are a projector, please leave me a comment in the comment section because I would love to say hello and I would love to get to know you. I would love to know more projectors because we are in the minority. So yeah, please leave me a comment if you are one of us. But basically, when we give advice, it's very, very deep. And unsolicited advice is never well received. When someone isn't ready to receive your guidance, they will deflect, they will avoid, they may even push back. And that results in you as a projector feeling unappreciated, feeling unrecognized, feeling like there's something wrong with what you're doing. And that can create its own conditioning and its own negative stories around what it means to help others and to share your gift. This, of course, is something that as you get to know your energy type and as you get to understand how to use your energy effectively, you start to decondition from, right? And when we talk about deconditioning, this is about us learning to let go of the old behaviors, old narratives, old limiting beliefs that hold us back from being who we truly are and from living in alignment with that version of ourselves. So not being recognized and creating resistance is a huge challenge for projectors who don't know how else to operate in this world. Another big challenge for projectors, and I alluded to this earlier, is that because we are surrounded by generators and manifesting generators, we really quickly learn to mask our design in order to keep up with everyone else. So this is leaning into hustle culture, working long hours, working hard for what you want, always having to be productive, always having to do more, associating rest with being unproductive, with guilt, with shame, not wanting to take a break, and all of those patterns of behavior that we have picked up as a result of looking at what everyone else was doing and feeling like we should be doing the same. On top of that, most projectors, due to the ratio and the maths, will have been raised by generators, manifesting generators, or manifestors. And so with the mind of a child, you will have picked up these limiting beliefs about what it means to be your true self and not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, being that version of yourself, and therefore having to mold into this other version of you that you thought would be more accepted, more loved, more celebrated. And those are just a few of the challenges that projectors tend to face. There are others, of course, but I am here to tell you that there is absolutely light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want this to come across as it being doom and gloom, because being a projector is the biggest gift. And actually, when I first found out I was a projector, I genuinely felt like I had drawn the short straw, because I wanted to be a manifestor or a manifesting generator or a generator, thinking that there's a design that is better than another. And I'm here to tell you that number one, there is no design that is better than another. We are all so unique and so incredible in our own way. And number two, the minute that you fall in love with your own design is the minute that you will start seeing how amazing it is to live life in alignment to who you are at your core. That is when things become easy. That is when things start to flow. That is when things become more fun, more exciting, and more enjoyable. That is also when you start to see more results, because you are working with the flow that you're designed to be working in rather than against it. So let's talk about the strategy for a projector. A strategy is the way that you are designed to share your gift with the world in the most effortless way possible. And your strategy corresponds to your energy type. So each energy type will have their own unique strategy that they need to learn to use in order to feel aligned. Now, the strategy for the projector is to wait for the invitation. Let me tell you that when I found out that my strategy was to wait for the invitation, I was not a happy bunny. I was like, what do you mean wait for the invitation? What am I meant to do? Sit on the sofa and do nothing? After decades of living life based on my conditioning, where I was like, I must do and I must be productive and I must hustle hard, that was a blow. However, it's really important for us to understand what it's actually meant by that. So waiting for the invitation, number one, it doesn't refer to just you living life. You don't have to wait for the invitation to go out to a restaurant because you fancy it. You don't have to wait for the invitation to take a walk down the street. When we're talking about your strategy, we're particularly referring to your gift. So as a projector, you are a seer, you are a guide, you are here to share your wisdom. However, like I said earlier, in order to ensure that that wisdom is well received, is recognized, and is appreciated, people need to be ready to receive it. This is why we must wait to be invited. Now, what does an invitation look like? It doesn't have to look like a specific invitation through the post or via email, or someone saying to you, hi Veronica, I'm inviting you to help me, or hi Veronica, I'm inviting you to work with me. This can be an energetic invitation. This can be someone basically entering your aura and giving you signals, giving you signs that they are looking for your guidance, that they are looking for you to help them in some shape or form. And I truly believe this is something that you practice and get to understand more and more as you experiment. But in my experience, an invitation can be someone opening a conversation with me. It can be someone asking me a question. It can be someone choosing to follow me on social media. It can be someone who inquires to work with me. It can be someone who pays attention when I'm talking and nods and kind of gives me the body language and the signals that they're interested in finding out more. You will get better at spotting these signals and spotting these invitations, like I said, the more that you experiment and the more that you practice. But the way I like to look at this is the feeling that someone is opening a door for you to let you in. The way I personally experience it is that they don't necessarily have to come out of the door and say, please come in. It is enough for them to kind of open the door and give you a signal that it's okay for you to enter. And there are two key reasons why it's really important to wait for the invitation. Number one, as I mentioned, people need to be ready to be guided. If they're not ready to be guided, you will experience pushback, you will experience resistance, and the harder you try, the more resistance you will create. I don't know if you've ever tried telling your friend that she's in a bad relationship and all you did was actually upset her and probably cause an argument because she wasn't ready to hear it. It's the same when you try and share your gift with someone who hasn't opened that door for you to come in and share those gifts. The second reason is because you need to be recognized. Projectors thrive off of recognition because they don't see themselves. Because we don't produce our own energy, we essentially end up seeing ourselves in the way that other people see us. So we need to be recognized for the value that we bring, for our gifts, in order to see ourselves and in order to see the value that we have to share. So being recognized is extremely important, because when you surround yourself by people who don't appreciate you and who don't recognize you, what you're essentially doing is you are creating an environment that does not allow you to thrive, that does not allow you to be your truest self, that doesn't allow you to share your gifts. This is why there is no point for a projector to try and convince someone that they need the guidance, that they need the help. Because unless that help and guidance is being met with recognition and with approval for you to share your gifts, you are going to feel very depleted and very unappreciated. Now, what happens when we feel depleted, unrecognized, unappreciated is that we start to experience what is known as the not self theme. So there are two key themes for each energy type. One is the not self theme and one is the signature theme. And these are basically signals that let us know whether we are living in alignment to our design or whether we are not. So the not self theme is a red flag that is there to say, hey, person, you are not living in alignment right now. And that signal for the projector is a feeling of bitterness, feeling bitter. I cannot tell you how much I resonated with that word when I first came across it. So for a projector, feeling bitter is often the result of not feeling appreciated, of not feeling seen, of not feeling recognized, of not feeling valued, of feeling overlooked in comparison to the generators and the manifesting generators and the manifestors out there. And when you feel bitter, when you feel like you've tried to be helpful and yet you're friend zoned, when you've tried to give someone guidance and they don't appreciate it or they don't use it, they don't implement it, when you've tried to get visible and you don't get any feedback, you feel like no one's watching, that is what leads you to being in your not self theme. Now, the way we end up in the not self theme is by living life based on our conditioning instead of living life based on our design. So taking the example of our conditioning tells us we have to go out there and make things happen. So if you have a business, you might get on the DMs and start cold messaging a bunch of people because you're told that this is a way you're going to connect and you're going to find clients. And you're going to be met with loads of resistance and a lack of results. Our design, on the other hand, says wait to be recognized, wait to be invited. So an aligned projector learns to be in the waiting room, prepped and primed for the right person to come in and to invite them to share their gifts. Now, waiting for the invitation is not a passive process, and I think this is where often projectors get frustrated and stuck. Waiting for the invitation is a chance for you to be mastering that system that I mentioned at the beginning. We are born guides, and in order to do that, in order to lead, in order to guide, in order to be of help and of support, we need to learn something, right? In order to teach someone else, in order to be a guide to someone else, you first need to learn your craft. You first need to get the knowledge yourself so that you can then share it. And this can be in any industry, in relation to any topic and any area of life. But when we don't do that, and when we act on the pressure of having to do, that is when we're met with resistance, and that is when we feel bitter. Now, when do we know that we are in alignment? Well, the signature for projectors is success. What success looks like, what it means to be successful, that is unique to every single individual. But it's the feeling that we get of, oh, I feel successful right now. That is what keeps us thriving. That is what makes us feel good. Now, when we look at the projector design, success, whatever shape or form that may take, in essence will be all about you getting a chance to share your gifts, and your gifts being well received, and you feeling recognized and appreciated as a result. So you'll know if you're living in alignment because you'll have this feeling of being successful. So guys, that sums up the basics of understanding the human design projector type. We've covered how to know if you're a projector by looking at your chart. We've covered some information about your aura. We've looked at your strategy, which is to wait for the invitation. We've looked at your not self theme, which is bitterness, and we looked at your signature, which is success. It goes without saying that there is so much more I could say about this energy type. There is so much more to your design. There is so much more that we can explore and that we can unpack to help you live your life with more alignment and to create your own version of success. And slowly but surely, I hope to create more videos that are going to help you go through that journey. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss future videos. If you have any questions whatsoever about your design or about human design in general, please leave them in the comment section below. I work with women who want to understand their human design and master their mindset every single day. So if you're looking for support, if you're looking for someone to help you on your own personal development journey, I do encourage you to check out all of my services on my website, and I hope to see you here next week. Bye guys!